Look at her smile when she hears her
Grandma's an
song.
auctioneer, had the fastest voice around. There's a college down the road with my last name on the sign. If there's one thing I've learned is there's some lessons you can't buy. You can drive away, but you can't drive out. You can change the name, change the paint, but my roots on this ground. You can fade away, come back a ghost. Nobody knows your business till you're finished. And this town holds your bones.
Ladies and gentlemen, with me tonight, I mean, if you're watching this right now, we're live, and it's the young lady that's singing this right now. Listen, just another verse. Hang on. It's so good.
The story sold that will keep passing down. Down, 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 down. You can drive away.
It's Macartney Reinhardt. How are you? Look at you. Look at the smile. Love it. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's amazing that we can do this because we're in upstate New York. You are where?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
What part of town?
I am in the Wilson County, Mount Juliet area.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're a little bit outside.
I am. I'm about 20 minutes east.
On a good day. On a good day, you're 20 minutes.
On a good day, yeah.
On a good day.
I always leave an hour before to get to town.
Yeah. You know, I talk to so many artists and it's always the same. Yeah, I'm about 15, 20 minutes out of town. And it's like, well, that's on a good day. But let's be real with the way that Nashville is growing and the traffic during the day. If you want to get from one place, point A to point B, you got to plan a little bit of extra time. But Macartney, it's first of all, I love the name too, Macartney.
Thank you so much.
It's that now, obviously, when I hear McCartney, I think of Paul McCartney, but you've got it as a first name.
I do, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So how long have you been in Nashville?
I've been here for 2 years full time. And then I was coming back and forth from Georgia, and it was only like a 3-hour drive. I did that for about a year prior to that. So
oh wow. Okay.
I've been here in the music scene, I guess, for 3 years, but here full time 2 years.
Okay. And how did you get involved? You know, I ask everybody this, and first of all, I'll just warn you with the podcast, we go down a lot of different roads. We find out about the artist. You know, you're human, I'm human. I mean, we still go to the grocery store. We still do everything pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Except this is my job and that's your job. So, which makes it kind of cool. But when did you start singing and how did you get into it and why?
Well, I started singing when I was really, really little. I probably, as early as I remember, I've been singing. And so I have always enjoyed it so much. So by the time I was 5, I started taking voice lessons, and I have done that ever since. And I always wanted to get into music because my dad is a musician. And so he always had a band. He always had a studio at our house. So I would be like 2 or 3 and people would come over and I would stay up late to listen to his band play. So I've just always, I've been around it my whole life. My family, it's a generational thing. So
yeah, because
I've always known.
Yeah, when we came on, I was asking about, I thought it was your father, but I should have read into it a little bit more. I just kind of glanced at certain things, but you're a relative of a legendary jazz guitarist, which I guess that's like back a little bit.
It is a bit. Yeah, it's, he was born in 1910, I believe.
Is it Django?
I think it's Django.
Django. Okay, so you
I
forget
believe
about
that's how it's pronounced. I've never known because people like in our family still don't even know exactly how to pronounce it. But
now, what about your dad? You said your dad is a musician. He has a band and all that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so he always had a band when I was little. I always grew up with them practicing in the basement. So I would stay up late to listen to them play. I remember being like 2 or 3 and asking my mom if I could stay up late to listen to them practice because I just enjoyed it so much. But he's a bassist.
Mhm.
So he actually plays with me now still.
Oh,
So
wow. How cool is that,
yeah.
that when you go out
So
to do a gig, and if you need the band, that dad's with you?
it's amazing. It's so good because anything can happen on stage, and
Yes.
it's comforting to know that, like, if you're having technical issues, I can turn to him and be like, what do I do if I've
Dad.
never experienced it? Like,
Yeah.
it's really, really
You
good,
know,
and I enjoy it so
it's,
much.
the father-daughter relationship is really special in the first place, but to have your dad in the band with you and all that, I mean, that just adds to it. I have 3 daughters, and,
Really.
it's,
Yeah.
it's that whole relationship, a father and his daughter. It's just
Yes.
amazing. Are you,
Mhm.
like, the only sibling? Are you the only child, or
I am an only child. So
wow.
yeah, I've always grown up just me, my mom, and my dad.
Yeah. Is your mom
So
a musician?
she's not,
Okay.
but she kind of helps me more with the business side of things.
Mhm, mhm.
And then my dad helps me more with, he'll play with me. He'll he'll write with me sometimes, just things like
I love
that.
it.
So they have their different ways of helping me, but
And
they
how was it, McCartney, when you said, "Okay, it's time for me to leave the house and move to Nashville" 2 years ago? When you made that move, was it hard? Did mom and dad take it hard? How was it for you? You were probably excited to go.
I was so excited. I
I bet.
remember I was in 10th grade. And so I had told everybody, I was like, I'm moving to Nashville. Like, I won't be back in 11th grade. I'm not coming back. And so I had just made up my mind. Like, I was so determined that
Mhm.
that's what I was going to do. And there was like, no one could really tell me no.
Right.
I had come up here, it was ninth grade, the end of ninth grade, I believe. And I wanted to play so bad. I was like, I'm not going home until I go buy a guitar because I didn't have a
Mhm.
guitar with me. I mean, I had
Okay.
one at home, but
Right.
I was like, I'm not going home until I get a guitar and go play somewhere. And so then we got me booked a couple weeks later and I started playing up here.
How cool.
So I was pretty determined and
Yeah.
a little stubborn about that,
Yeah,
but
it's okay though. That's okay, but, were
yeah,
you, like, scared? I mean,
I was.
you get the excitement of moving, I get that, especially being, a young lady's gonna make a move. Mom and dad are back in Georgia, and you're gonna move to Nashville, and it's like, "Okay, what do I do? Where do I go?" Did you have friends? I mean, eh
Well, they moved with me, my parents
oh,
did.
nice. Okay, well, that
So,
answers that question.
yes,
Okay.
so that was so helpful, but I
Mhm.
was scared. Even though I had them, I didn't I didn't know a lot of people here. I
Yeah.
All my friends were back in Georgia. I had just left halfway through high school, and I didn't know how my music would be accepted here in Nashville because I feel like the Nashville and Atlanta music scenes are
Mhm. Mhm.
a lot more different than you would think. And
Okay.
so I was worried that, like, I'd played out some in Georgia, but I'd never really played
Never in
here.
Nashville.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was so worried, like, well, how is it going to be taken here?
So, where
So
do you in Nashville, where do you get out and play? Are you down on Broadway at all? Do you play any of the bars down there, or the restaurants? And
yeah,
yeah.
sometimes I'll play at some of those bars, and then
Mhm,
I
mhm.
do like riders round
I was gonna
gigs
ask.
around
Okay.
town.
Yeah.
So I do a few of those a week, and then I go out of town on the weekends to play.
Nice. Good.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Now, I opened up the podcast with Bones, and that is your brand new single, if I'm not mistaken,
it
just came out a
is.
few weeks ago.
Yes.
Jeff was telling me about it. But why don't you tell me a little bit about that song?
Yeah. So I actually wrote this about my family and my time growing up in Georgia
Mhm.
and my childhood there. I was I walked into a co-write one day, and my producer that I always write with, he was like, what do you want to write about? And I have been through like a lot this year, and
Sure.
so a lot
Sure.
of hardships, I guess.
Yes, exactly,
And so
exactly.
I was thinking at the time, like, I'm just so thankful to be here. Like, I'm so thankful for every day I'm given. And I know that sounds cliche, like I'm I'm aware it sounds like that.
No, no,
But
not at all.
I I've had just such a hard year, and I sat down and I'd had a really bad month of May. Like I just couldn't quit getting sick, and it was rough. And so I sat down and my producer was like, "Well, what do you want to write about?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm just glad to be here." And so then we just started writing, and he was like, "Well, like tell me like about your childhood."
Mhm.
And so I ended up telling him just how I grew up in a tiny, tiny little Georgia town.
Oh,
There's only a population of about 600, I believe. So
okay.
it's very, very small. And so it was where I spent my entire life up until I was 13.
Mhm.
And then I moved to another house for a couple years and then came up here. But it starts off like grandma owned a flower shop, and it's all based on a true story. I wanted to write it about my grandparents.
Oh my gosh.
My grandma, she did own a flower shop in Georgia, and she passed away in
Oh,
2019.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. And so I wanted everybody to know about
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And also my grandpa, he passed away in 2017.
Oh my gosh.
And so he was an auctioneer, and I just wanted to write a song to where people could know more about my story without me even
Mhm.
having to say a word, but just in the song.
Right. I say this all the time. That's country music.
It
Country
is.
music is like the soundtrack to our lives. I mean,
Mhm.
it takes somebody like me driving down the road. Now, if I was to hear that song, I'll go, "Oh my God, she's singing about me. She's singing about my life." And we all have some sort of a connection, believe it or not. And when you can put it to music like you have, I mean, that's it speaks for itself.
Yeah, and I thought my situation was like even unique with, like
Yeah.
specific careers that my grandparents had. But I
Mhm.
actually noticed after I posted one of my first TikToks about it, somebody was like, "My grandma owned a flower shop and my grandpa was an auctioneer." I was like, "Oh my God."
That's it. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
mean, you may say it's unique and it's written around your life, but do you realize, I mean, now you do, that
Yeah.
there's so many that will go, "Oh my God, my grandma did that, or my grandpa did this."
Yeah.
And so now it's like, wow, you've connected. You've connected with fans, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Tell me a little bit about you were I'm reading here a little bit on your bio that you were one of just five musicians nominated for Teen Artist of the Year back in 2020.
I
That was at the
was,
Georgia
yes.
Country Awards, right? Tell us about that
Yeah.
experience. Wow.
Well, I didn't know until I would say a couple months before. I had no
Mhm.
idea that I was going to get that nomination. And so at that time, I don't think I had released any songs yet. And so I was like, it was a complete shock. And I had no clue until it happened. They didn't like email right before and were like, "We're going to nominate you." Like, I just saw it on Facebook and I was like, "What?" And so I was 14 at the time. I had just started ninth grade. And
Okay.
so I remember seeing that on Facebook and I was like, "Well, guess we're going to the Georgia Country Awards."
That's so
So
cool.
yeah, it was really neat. It was at
Mhm,
the
mhm.
Crazy Bull in Macon,
Oh, wow.
Georgia.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't realize, like, I hadn't researched it much. I've never much been to Macon, but when we went, like, there's
Mhm.
pictures. Jason Aldean played there a bunch because he's from Macon,
Yep, exactly.
and it was really neat. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
So it was one of the first venues I played.
You gotta love that.
So
And you were
yeah,
off and running after that, so that's kinda cool. You were
it
also a
is.
part of CMA Fest back in 2023, correct?
Yes.
That had to be a pretty cool experience for you as a new artist.
It was so neat. I did the meet and greet at
Yeah.
Fanfare, and it was one of the best experiences I've had so far. It was really, really fun. I signed for an hour, I
Oh my
believe.
gosh, that's so cool.
And it went by so quick. I thought it had been like 20
Mhm.
minutes.
Mhm.
They were like, okay, no more people in line. And I was like, can I stay here?
I don't blame you. Yeah,
but
exactly.
but it was
Wow.
so fun. I enjoyed it
Yeah.
so
Did you get
much.
to go to Fan Fest this year? Fanfare?
I did not go to fanfare this year.
Okay.
I was playing a lot of gigs,
Yeah. All right.
and so I ended up I because I was like so sick on and off in
Yeah.
the spring, I kind of missed the deadline
Was it like
for.
allergies or something like that that really got you down? Or, we
Yeah,
all been through certain
I got
things. Wow.
COVID, and
Yeah.
I've
Well, right
just
there with you, girl.
yeah, so I've
Yeah.
just been like pretty sick on and off this
Yeah.
year.
And,
So
a lot of people like yourself that are out and they're performing at these venues and you're doing these gigs in front of maybe 25 people, 50, 100, 1,000. Um, just all those people that are there and they all want to shake your hand. They all want an autograph. I mean, it's even doing the radio thing that I do. It's like, and I believe that's how I got it because I was doing selfies with a lot of people and stuff like
yeah,
that. So, but you got to do those things.
I agree.
And
Mhm.
especially as a new independent artist, you need to reach out, connect with people, connect with you get I always say it's one fan at a time, but
I agree.
you got to do
Definitely.
it. You got to do it. And
Yes,
then, now I know once you become really well established, and something that I've seen that has been happening lately is a lot of these very well established. I mean, I'm talking about the superstars now are kind of cutting back on their meet and greets and stuff. Just I think it's because of the way everything is gone and they can't afford to get sick. They don't want to get sick. But
I
on the
know.
other hand, we need to do what we need to do to get those fans so we can reach that status. So,
Yes,
you
I
know?
agree. I
Yeah.
try to make a point every single show I play, if
Mhm.
it's a meet and greet like that, to talk to every single person, because that could make them a fan
Mhm.
if they wouldn't have been at first.
Right. Have
Is
you
that
had
connection?
I'm sorry. Have you had the opportunity to hit up some radio stations and do like a radio tour, what they call with the artists a radio tour and all
I
that?
have been working on it, yes.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah.
Because the more people the more programmers, or if we can do something like this, maybe other programmers would do it as well. It's like, I mean, we obviously you don't have to travel if we do it this way, but still, it's always nice to get into the radio station, meet the program director, let them play your tune on the air, and that's how you got to do that. And have you been to the country radio seminar?
I have not been there yet.
It's coming.
I
It's coming
wanted to go every year, but I haven't
this
been
year.
able to go to it yet.
You got to bring your
So,
mom and dad down. You have to do it
yes.
in February. All right. You
Yes, I
need to
would love
come.
to.
Yeah. Because that is an opportunity. I don't know if mom and dad are watching this or not, but it's an opportunity for you to meet a lot of those in the business, whether it's radio, whether it's promotion side, whether it's the record label side. I mean, the networking at this event is just unbelievable.
Yes, I've heard it's such a great opportunity.
And it's a good time too.
Yeah, I bet. I've been
Yeah.
wanting to go for a little bit,
Well,
but
cool. Well,
somehow I
maybe.
missed it every
Yeah.
year.
I'll put a bug in Jeff's ear to make sure he reminds you of that. What
Thank
other
you.
so you put out an EP, right? You don't have the album.
I'm working towards an EP,
Okay.
hopefully at the
Okay.
beginning of
All
next
right.
year.
All right.
So,
Very cool. And of
yeah.
course, you got Bones. What did you have before Bones? What
I
other
had a
music?
song called High Horse.
Okay.
So that came out the beginning of May.
All right.
And that was kind of more of a story of me being bullied in high
Mhm.
school and
Mhm.
middle school, kind of towards the
Oh, I
girls
hate
that
that.
did
I hate
that.
that. Yeah, I know. Girls are the
So
worst. I swear to God, girls, I'm sorry, I don't mean, but I hear a lot of this, and it seems like the girls are the worst against each other. It's terrible.
I had a little bit of trouble in middle
Yeah.
school and high school,
Yeah.
definitely being bullied. And
Mhm.
I went
Mhm.
to a small school, so
Yeah.
there
But you know what?
wasn't a lot. So,
That whole experience
mhm.
is gonna make you a better person,
Thank
and
you.
you're gonna be able to go, "See where I am? Where are you?" Just
Thank
saying.
you.
Exactly, and, yeah, I have a son with, disabilities, and we went through some stuff through school too, so
No,
it's,
I know. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's hard.
it's hard,
It's
it's hard, But you know what? You are strong. You're in Nashville. You're doing your thing. Hey, you know, tell
Yeah.
them to kiss off. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
Yeah. What
and
do you?
I'm thankful that it ended up happening because I feel like it kind of, I feel like being in the position I'm in is a rough position to be in
It is.
sometimes
It
just
is.
because of all the haters and all the negative comments you get. So I'm kind of thankful in a way that I went through it and that
Exactly.
I've kind of developed thick skin because now if I see a bad comment, I'm
Oh, well. You
like,
know what? You learn from those comments.
yeah,
And the unfortunate thing is, whether it's doing what you're doing and doing or doing what I do, is when you get a negative comment, you know what? That means they're listening.
yeah,
That means they're paying attention to you.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
and like Taylor Swift says in her song, haters are going to hate. I mean, come
Yes,
on,
that's
that's
what
the
they
way it
do.
is. It is. And you
Yes.
very seldom, you do once in a while, but I know at least in my business, you very seldom hear from the people that love you. The people they don't have any complaints, nothing. They're just there. It's those that gotta say, those that have something to say will post, and it's usually negative. So,
Yeah,
but really, there's so few when you think about it. You see them because they're the only ones posting, but overall, there's so few. So,
they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you do for fun?
Well, I spend most of my time on music, but
Yeah.
I like to get out and shop. I don't like to shop for clothes a lot, but I like to shop for like makeup and
Ah, okay. Okay. I get it. You know,
decorations for my room.
yeah. Are you into
Things
sneakers?
not a lot.
No, because a friend of mine shops and she's always on the Nike site and she designs her own sneakers and buys them. And they're really, really fashionable.
Yeah,
And
that's so
you mentioned
neat.
shopping, and I had no idea till she told me that you can go on Nike.com and design your own sneakers. So,
Yeah, that's so neat.
and as a matter of fact, I went on there and I did that. It's not so, this isn't a plug for Nike at all, but I did do it. And because my podcast is Skip Happens, my
Mhm.
sneakers say Skip Happens. So,
That's so neat.
you could do the same for you. You could
Yeah,
have McCartney Reinhardt
yeah.
or your
It would be good
initials.
marketing.
Yeah, there you go. It's a start, right?
Yeah,
There you go. We came up with something. But no, I just so you like to shop a lot and
I
all
do.
that. Are
Yeah.
you into sports at all or anything like that?
Not much.
No.
I'm not the most athletic one.
Yeah, me neither.
So I did volleyball for a
Yeah.
year in middle school,
Okay.
but
Okay.
we lost every game.
It doesn't
So
matter. You played.
yeah. So I cheered for a little bit.
Mhm. Oh,
So
that's
I
cool.
that was the only like
Mhm.
extracurricular I stuck with other than music.
So,
So
you say it's mostly music, your life.
it is.
Are you living with mom and dad there, or do you have
Yeah.
your own place? You do live with mom and dad, so that's
Yeah.
cool. So did he bring the studio right there with him?
Well, we are actually renting right now
Okay.
until we can figure out
I got you.
exactly where we want to be. So we do not have room for a studio. We have a little two bed, two bath apartment right
I got you.
now.
I got you.
So we've got
Mm.
equipment in a little closet and a tiny, tiny setup, but not much of
The
it.
closet is the best though.
True.
That's
True.
where, I have my own studio here at home, and I have
Mhm.
a vocal booth over in the corner for commercials and things that I do, other
Yeah.
stuff. And but when I first started, I used a closet. And in
Wow.
the closet, all my clothes would be hanging, and I had the soundproofing is awesome. The sound was
Yeah.
awesome. It was so clear. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, we could use just a slight bit more space for a few other things, but
Dad, it's only room for me.
yeah.
No, yeah, no, I
It's
get
like
it.
like
I get it.
not
I get it.
even a
Yeah. So,
foot deep studio.
yeah, when you
So
get out to go to the writers' rounds, whereabouts do you go? Because I know they used to have
I
them at the Tin Roof and stuff. That's why I was just kind of curious.
yeah, so I play, let's see, I play at the Commodore
Okay,
about once every month, couple months, I
that's
guess.
cool.
Play at the local.
Oh, I know
I
the
love
local
playing at
very
the
well.
local.
Yes, a
Uh,
lot of independents do. I love it.
yes,
Yep.
it might be my favorite place to play.
Yes, I've heard that a
It's
lot.
so fun. And I love Jeff that owns it.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a
Mm-hmm.
nice guy. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've done writers rounds at, I used to do them at Assembly Food Hall,
Okay.
but they don't have them anymore. And I don't know if you heard of Belcourt Taps,
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
but I did that before they closed their writers
Yeah.
rounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I I've done a good many around town. I've done one at the Bluebird.
I was going to ask if you've been to the Bluebird, the
Yes.
actual Bluebird. Wow.
hmm
How cool
So
is that? Is
it's
that a feeling like no other?
it is.
Just
Yes,
knowing?
it was the weirdest feeling when I went in there, and I was like, I think I was 16 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I walked in there and I was like, where am I? Like, how in the world has this, like, it's such a neat place, and it's how in the world has this many people been here and played here? Like
Mm-hmm.
Garth Taylor, so
I
many
know.
people were found there, and it's crazy to stand on that stage and think, like, this is where
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
people that I look up, people that I see as heroes almost, have stood.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Like in the rhyme in there, and that, the mother church right there in the heart of town.
yes,
And just to go in there and to stand on that stage and you see that circle and you just kind of go, wow, someday.
yeah. And
It's amazing.
I've been backstage at the Opry. My boyfriend plays guitar at the Opry.
Oh, he does. Does he play for a big
He plays
artist?
for Neon Union.
I love
They're
those guys. Oh my
you do?
God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very well. I've had him on the podcast. I've had him
Really?
in town a couple of times. We
Yeah.
had so much fun.
Yeah, they're such nice guys.
That is so cool.
So yeah,
Yep.
but he plays guitar for them, and so
I love it.
I've been to the Opry with him a few
Hmm.
times, and
Hmm.
I'll stand kind of on the wings and video him.
I
But
love that.
it's
I
it's
love
so
that.
surreal. Like, I'll literally stand there and cry, just thinking, like, when I stand in the circle, like, it's gonna be the most
Mhm.
surreal thing.
Mhm. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the comments here, and my son seems to be chiming in here. And like I said, he wants to know if you will marry him.
Oh, that's so
Zach
sweet.
Zach is Down syndrome, and
Oh,
but he's not home, so I don't know where he is, and he's commenting. So he's
oh,
but just in case you saw that, I don't know. He does that a lot.
oh,
I have no idea,
that's sweet.
and I apologize, but
No, 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 no.
But yeah, kind of threw my train of thought off here. I'm like, why is
Oh,
he
it's
doing
okay.
that? Don't do that. But so all right. So do you work any other jobs? This is all you do is an artist, or
I do not. This
yeah,
is all I do. So
yeah. So what was your first job though? Let's go way back. Let's go way back. What was the first thing you ever did? Your very first job.
my very first job was playing on Broadway.
Okay.
So I feel very lucky that I was
Yes.
able for that to be my first job.
That is so
And
awesome.
it was really fun, and it was I was 16 when I started playing on
Mhm.
Broadway. So
Wow.
they hired me at 15, but I started
And
playing at
whereabouts did you play
16.
on Broadway at that age?
I would play just really at any of the clubs.
Yeah, whoever would
Just
do it, and they paid you, and or did you work off of tips?
I I would get paid a
Okay.
base amount,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
it would be like a certain amount for the whole band. We'd split that, and then
Sure.
tips in the bucket.
Have you
We'd
had
split that.
the Tootsies experience yet?
I have played at Tootsie's,
All right.
yes.
Okay. I have a friend
So
that plays guitar there once in a while. So
yeah, so
his name's Jason.
I like it there. So yeah, I remember, like I was saying, like at the Bluebird or something, I remember standing on the Tootsie's main stage playing.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's a really neat feeling too, to think
Mhm,
like who
mhm.
all has stood right here. So I thought that was really
Yeah.
neat.
So, with your music, did you have "Coming Home"? Was that one of your songs, or am
I
I
did.
mistaken? You had
Yes.
that, and of course, the one you talked about just a few minutes ago, and you got "Bones" that's out there now. If somebody wanted to find out more about you, or maybe other programmers, other, just music fans in general, want to know more about you, where can they go? Do you have your own website?
I do have my own website.
Okay.
Yes. So it's just McCartneyReinhardt.com.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
then you can find me anywhere like Apple, Spotify. It's just under McCartney Reinhardt.
I love it.
And then really any social media is McCartney Reinhardt Music, except for TikTok, which
I
is
was gonna ask
McCartney
about
Reinhardt.
TikTok.
Yeah.
You know you know,
So
TikTok has made a lot of artists, if you know what I
it
mean.
has.
So,
Yes.
you know, don't
Yes. It's very
downplay it.
encouraging.
Yes, but it's a
TikTok
lot of
is.
work too.
It is.
It
Yes.
is. And do
I
you
agree.
do all your own social media?
I I run my social media, but I do not film all my videos. The more
Okay,
professional videos I have, my producer shoots for me.
nice. Yeah,
So, but I usually post a lot of those, but I run all my social media accounts.
yeah.
So,
Being who you are, being in Nashville, made the move and all that, and there's so many like you in Nashville that are just looking for that one break, that one moment.
yes.
And it's gotta be so hard, and, you pray every night that it happens the next day,
Mhm.
but, that you get a lot of no's when you try to pitch yourself. Yeah, I mean, there's an overabundance of no's. How do you handle when somebody does that? I know we talked a few minutes ago about, the comments and all that, but, do you ever get down and just say, "That's it, I don't know if I wanna do this anymore," because it is a challenge. It is a challenge, but
I do get down on myself
Mhm,
just because I think it's just kind of human nature to not feel good enough.
mhm,
Sometimes I had a show the other night and it was a bigger show and I walked in and I was like I don't feel like that like I
mhm.
feel like everyone here is so it was so intimidating. And so but I actually it was crazy in the bathroom the soap dispenser had written on it you are enough. And I was like this is crazy. But
I love it.
I'm very spiritual.
Good,
And
good.
so when
That
I
was a message, for you. When you went in to use the
yes.
restroom and that being on the soap dispenser, somebody was telling you something.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so I'm a very spiritual person and
Good,
so I
good.
I I rely on God to show me my path and I have little
You're gonna
signs
do
that
it.
like mean something to me. Like anytime I see a rainbow out, it feels like God comforting me or like a dove outside. I have certain things and like I feel like God talks to me in dreams. I dream a
Mhm,
lot, so
mhm,
then like
mhm.
it'll kind of encourage me and
Totally,
that's what I rely on
totally.
is just to know that there
Yeah,
is a path and a plan and I can't see
excellent.
it right now. I don't know what it is, but
You'll be
I
put in
know
that
it'll be
right
in my best
spot.
interest. And
Exactly, exactly, and the team you have working for you has been put there for a reason as well, and, he
yes.
hates it when I do this, but I'm good friends with Jeff Galco, and he
Yeah.
is one of the best, and one of the funniest, and one of the most serious, and the one that just all the way around, he will do what's right for you. He
Yes.
will, and
And
he
I'm so
gives a lot.
thankful to
Yes.
have Jeff on my team for
I've
sure.
known him for quite a few years, and just he's awesome. So,
I'm so
now my
thankful
phone's
for
gonna ring
everyone.
here in a minute because I think he's watching.
That's funny.
It is. It's been
But
great chatting with you tonight. I know you said you have an 8 o'clock
mm,
appointment there, Nashville time. So, we're not going to drag this on too much longer. Just,
thank
it's an honor to get to know you a little bit. I wish you all the luck in
you.
the world. I
Thank you so
really sincerely hope that you think about the country radio seminar because just for the new
yes.
artist that, maybe something will come of it, maybe something will not, but you get to at least meet these people, set that first impression, which means so much, or if you get a chance to play your guitar somewhere when all the radio people are in town or do a show. I mean, it's just a great opportunity for you,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it this year.
All right.
So,
Yes, yes, and tell your dad I'll buy him a beer. He's got to bring you
okay,
down. All right,
sounds
so
good.
that's cool. So, yeah, thank you again for
Yeah, thank you
joining
so
us.
much.
And Macartney Reinhardt is with us here tonight. It Skip Happens, and I hope you had a good time. And you know, you told everybody about you. I will attach the single to this video when I upload it. I know we're live right now, but I will be uploading it to YouTube as well, and it's all going to be there. And I'll make sure you get the link. And if you could just share it, and there you
I
go.
definitely will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, have a good time tonight. God bless
Thank
you,
you.
and
You too.
I look forward to more music and hearing a lot more about you.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for viewing, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to Skip Happens so you don't miss any of these great interviews. A lot of new independent artists, well-established artists, and some people that aren't artists. So, I mean, I'm all over the place with Skip Happens. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. McCartney, peace out. Stay right there, but peace out. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody.